Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Hope y'all are doing well. Let me adjust this really quick so you can see the Goku and the Vegeta Ultra Instinct in the background. You already know what it is. Fresh to death in the Weapon X Athletics. Black V-neck. I still have a few limited editions in stock. So if you are interested in a t-shirt, please leave a comment or shoot me a message on Instagram at weaponx_IFBB go check out my business page too, weaponx.athletics, and copy a shirt. Rep the brand. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Customary first sip. Yes. Breakfast. 180 grams of beef, 2 English muffins, the spinach in there that's cooked, and I made my burgers, my English muffin burgers. I love these. They are so good. Okay, so the topic for today's episode, I believe, is contest prep, if I am not mistaken. It is. So, I thought this would be a good opportunity now that the bodybuilding season is in full swing to kind of man, that's good. To kind of go into detail of what each phase of contest prep is like, give a brief description of what it's like, and just what contest prep is like in general outside of like the X's and O's of the specific phases of contest prep. Before I do that though, I'm gonna grab a paper towel because it's gonna get messy. Give me 1 second. All right. I got my hanky. We're good. We're good. Mission complete. Okay, so this video obviously is more geared towards either those of you who have never competed before, or have competed and maybe just had a subpar experience. Maybe you had a lesser experienced coach and you still don't fully understand what preparing for a competition is like. Because I know after my first year, it took a whole calendar year from when I made the decision to actually do a contest and doing it, and then a whole year followed before I really understood what really goes into it. And even then, I was still learning. So it's taken time, so it's not something that you just kind of pick up on right away. You do a contest, you're like, oh, I understand contest prep. No. So I just wanted to go into what the different phases are, give a brief description, and just things that you should be prepared to experience during a contest prep, which I don't feel is talked about enough. So let's start. Okay, so let's start with pre-contest. So you make the decision that, you want to do your first contest, right? You feel like you're in decent shape, you have a decent physique, you know that you have to get into single-digit body fat, get super conditioned in order to do the show, right? So you move into you go into what's called a pre-contest phase. Pre-contest is basically where you start dieting down, you cut back your calories, increase cardio typically. Now, obviously, inter-individual variability applies, very much so, because everybody's different. So you have people who, like me, I think I said this in the last video, who who can get striated glutes on 30, 40 minutes of cardio a day. And then you have people like me who have to do well over an hour and a half in order to achieve the same result. It is what it is. So, and the amount of calories that you have to eat are different, from person to person. So like for me, I have to get super low in order to get in shape. One of our trainers at the gym, Luke Kaz, he never got below 200 or 300 grams of carbs a day. And he got in shape, and he won his class. So I mean, everybody's different. So pre-contest. So generally, you lower your food, you increase your cardio, and the goal is single-digit body fat. Now, you ideally should be ready for your contest, like ready to step on stage, pretty much. Aside from the minutia details of peak week, at around 1.5 to 2 weeks out, maybe even 2.5 weeks out. If you're ready at like 3, then like, you are way ahead of the game, and maybe a little bit too far ahead, because now you have to manage. Now you have to go into weight management and things of that sort, depending on what your class is and all that. That was a problem that I faced for Tampa Pro, is that I was ready early, and then we just had to make sure I was able to make weight. So it's a good problem to have, but a problem nonetheless. So 1.5 to 2 weeks out, you should be ready to step on stage. You should be able to go through a peak week, a 2-3 day peak protocol, and get on stage. So that's pretty much pre-contest. You're lowering your calories, you're increasing your cardio, supplementation typically goes up, and you are trying to get single-digit body fat to get ready for stage. So now the next step would be peak week, which is still pre-contest, but still. So you have peak week, which is where you fine-tune all the variables within the prep. You go through a water manipulation. Every coach does this differently. So I just want to make that disclaimer right now that peak week protocol differs depending on the coach that you have. Me personally, I'm a firm believer of keeping, you increase water throughout the pre-contest period, but during peak week, you want to keep things as constant as possible. So I try to keep water as constant as possible, salt as constant as possible, until we cut water the day before the show. Cut it as in like cut it out completely. But up until that point, everything is constant. Sodium is constant. The food choices that you are making are constant. Do not try to switch up what you've been eating the entire prep in the last few days of a contest prep, because you will fuck everything up and you will be ruined forever. And by forever, I mean like you've ruined that contest. Like you probably aren't going to win if you decided to make some last minute foolish decisions in the air of trying to be like 2 or 3% better. You'll end up like 5 or 10% worse. So, but yeah, there's typically water manipulation involved, there's sodium manipulation involved, and then like the carb up process, which usually happens, it starts a day or two before the show. And all of that to make sure that you are as dry as possible and as full as possible. So now again, I am going to do separate videos in the future that go into even more detail of each phase that I'm explaining here. So that's why I'm going to just keep each explanation pretty brief. And I'll do more detailed videos down the line in future episodes. So, okay, so you go through your peak, you go through show day, right? The show is over, and again, I'll even have a separate video for just show day and how you should approach your show day. So now the show is done. You'll typically go out, you'll have, a meal with friends. You'll have maybe the next day, same thing. And then you go into your first week post-contest. So this is where you slowly ramp the food back up. You ramp up supplementation. And so the first 6 to 8 weeks following a contest is the most prime that you are going to be all year to build muscle. However, conversely, you are also the most primed all year to put on body fat. So you have to kind of keep a really tight rein on what you are doing from a food standpoint and how structured and disciplined you are in that first 6 to 8 weeks, because you can put on a lot of muscle and make huge gains and improvements in that 2-month period, or you could mess it all up and get really fat. And then your off season, which is the next phase that I'm gonna explain, is, it will not be as good. I can say that much. Or you'll have a lot more work to do. You'll probably have to do a mini cut, or at least one, if not two mini cuts throughout your off season to reclaim some of that condition back as you grow, as opposed to just maintaining it right out of the gate from post show. So that 2 month phase following the show is typically called the rebound phase, right? So then after the rebound, you move into off season. Off season is just your grinded out growth period. This is, in my opinion, off season is the most difficult part of contest prep. Most people think it's the most, thinking about it, they're like, oh, it's fun because you get to eat more food. That's the part that's hard. You're eating, if you really want to grow the way you need to grow in order to make the improvements you need to make, you're eating so much food to the point where you just get sick of it. Honestly, if you are not sick of food by the end of off season and not like chomping at the bit to cut some of that shit out so that you can, feel a little bit better, actually put your socks on by yourself and things like that, then you're not doing off season properly. Off season is a drudgery. And on top of that, the other reason why I feel like off season is the hardest phase is when you're in a pre-contest and you're lowering your food, you're increasing your cardio, there is almost immediate visual payoff and gratification from every effort that you make. You can see week to week you're changing, you're getting leaner, muscle definition is showing, blah, blah, blah. Whereas in off season, you don't see changes week to week. This is another reason why it's important and why I encourage all of my clients to keep a logbook, because that is going to be your instant gratification. You'll see yourself getting stronger every week, which means, okay, if I'm getting stronger, that means I'm putting on muscle tissue, as long as I'm following the diet. So that is a hard and fast truth that I fully and 110% believe in, and it is an ideology that I probably will never change, ever, until I get older. And then, the older version of Derek might have a different view on this in terms of building / maintaining muscle, because obviously your goals change as you age. But right now, I am fully under the complete belief that strength is the end all be all of building muscle. If you are not getting stronger in the gym, you are not building muscle. You're not building new muscle tissue. You're not causing a novel enough stimulus in order to cause your body to want to adapt by adding new muscle, period. So you're getting stronger, but you're not seeing week to week, oh, my bicep is bigger, or, my chest has another inch on it, or, whatever. Like the changes are super slow and they take time. And most people, it's definitely a mental, I used the word drudgery once, I'm going to use it again. It is a mental drudgery and just grind to just tick those boxes every single week after week, day after day, month after month, and not always really fully appreciating or seeing the changes that are happening as you do them, as you accomplish them. So that for me is the reason why off season is the hardest. So now you go through but off season is also the most important part, because that growth, that improvement period is where you set yourself up to be in even better physical condition and shape for your next show. That's where you win shows in the off season. You don't win shows in pre-contest. Pre-contest, you just shed the body fat to show what you accomplished in your off season. So off season is when you win shows. So if you fuck up your off season, you ain't winning no shows. End of story. So it is the most important. So then once your off season period is done, then you move back into a pre-contest and the cycle repeats itself again. Now, things to expect to deal with when you're in off season. First of all, I said things to deal with when you're in off season. Things to expect to deal with when you embark on a contest prep, which includes all the phases that I just explained. You will always be at the grocery store. Let me repeat that again. You will always be at the grocery store. All the time. Me and Anastasia about to buy groceries like every other day. Really. We go through food super quick. We're both bodybuilders. We're both competing. We're both prepping for shows. We've been prepping for shows at the same time, literally almost the entire time we've been dating. So, yeah, we go through food quick. You will be in the bathroom all the time. Constantly. And if you're doing contest prep right, if you're doing all your phases right, you will find, if you like really start to track it, that you are actually going to the bathroom at almost the same times, doing the same things every day. That's how you know that you're consistent. That's one way to know that you're consistent. A typical thing, you'll get strange looks all the time. Usually at the grocery store. That's why I hate going to the grocery store. And I'd rather pay for one of these apps, which is what we do, to have a shopper do it for us. Because I hate going to the grocery store. Because I hate how people stare at me. Like most of the time with like some like weird twist in their face, like almost disgusted. And or they want to try and touch me. Don't touch me. I don't like that. Or ask me a bunch of crazy questions that, like, bro, you're sitting there asking me what do I eat to get in the shape that I'm in, and I look in your carriage and I just see a box of cookies. I'm not interested in answering your questions, to be honest, because I know that no matter what I say, I can talk to them blue in the face about all the things that I eat. You're probably not going to go put those cookies back on the shelf. So I don't even bother a lot of the time if I see stuff like that. Because you and I both know you don't need a nutritionist to tell you, hey, if you want to lose weight, maybe you should put the cookies down. You don't need me to tell you that or anybody else. You know that. So I'm not going to waste my breath trying to educate you on something that you already know. What else? Oh, when you get close to the show and your body fat is low, you will not sleep. Your body is in such an uncomfortable state because of how low a body fat it is and how hungry you are, and also how constantly you need to go to the bathroom, that you will wake up constantly after you hit like 4, 5, 6 weeks out. You ain't sleeping. Maybe even 7. You ain't sleeping. You're gonna wake up minimum 2 times a night before you actually wake up for the day. Usually I get up to like, when I get close to a contest, 3 to 4 times a night I wake up to either use the bathroom or my body literally just wakes me up like, dude, I'm hungry, feed me. And I'm like, nah, bruh. And I try to go back to sleep. Relationships, people. I'm going to go into that really, really quick. It's the last point I'm going to make. So, when you embark on a bodybuilding journey, you want to do a contest, and you catch that bug, that contest prep bug. You will notice that the people that you used to hang out with and have fun with and all of that, that'll change. Because you have discovered a newfound dedication to something, right? That is for you, but is still beyond just you, self-gratification. It is also a quest of self-discovery. You learn a lot about yourself. And there's usually some sort of deep-rooted, not motivation, but deep-rooted reason, drive, something internal that is driving you forward beyond just, oh, I want to look great and have great contest prep pictures in my posing suit and be shredded. Like there's some sort of internal switch that turns on that every time you wake up, it's what you think about. It's what gets you out of bed. It's what gets you going. When you have that level of obsession and dedication to something, the people that currently surround you will not be around you anymore, because you'll find yourself saying no to a lot of things that they want you to do, such as going out to eat, going out to party, just random outings, whatever. You're like, nah, I gotta go to the gym. No, I gotta do my meal prep. No, I gotta do this. No, I gotta do that. And those people will stop calling on you because you're no longer fun for them, because you're not into the typical mode of consumption that our American culture promotes so much. You have dedicated yourself to something, and you have dedicated yourself to something that is based around self-improvement. Because of that, and because of the fact that most people do not dedicate themselves to something that involves self-improvement, they don't want to be a part of it. You are shining a light on their mediocrity, so they gotta put a stiff arm on you and kind of keep you in arm's length. Sucks, but you'll also meet new friends, bodybuilding friends, with the same mindset that you have. So the people that you hang around now and the people that you will be hanging around once you've done this contest prep thing once or twice are going to be completely different. I'm speaking from experience. Hopefully you have a significant other who supports what you are doing, or even better, competes themselves. That is the absolute best scenario. They will be the most understanding of every decision that you make, and will be 110% supportive of every choice that you make and every decision that you do. Otherwise, there will be a lot of strife, and you probably won't make it through your contest prep. Honestly, the biggest reasons why a lot of us are able to make it is because we have strong support systems, and we highly depend on them, especially when we're in a weakened mental state from lower calories, higher cardio, all that stuff. You're not thinking clearly. So having those people behind you that are able to lift you up and push you forward are absolutely paramount. And if you don't have them, the chances of your success go way down. That doesn't mean you can't do it, but it will be really hard. And not only will it be hard, it will be less fulfilling. No one wants to be successful by themselves. People want to be successful and be able to share that success with other people. It makes you feel better. So when you aren't able to do that, it does put a damper on things, to the point where you might not even finish your contest prep. So that's another thing that I want to impart upon you. Have a strong support system of friends, significant other, etc., that are continually pushing you forward. This was probably my longest video. Man, I've been talking shit, but I did feel like this was important. This year has been absolutely crazy, but bodybuilding has striven to persist, and it is persisting. And I feel like it's important that you guys understand what a contest prep is like, what goes into it. And like I said, I'm gonna do separate videos in the future. I'll probably start doing that next week. Actually, I'll make that my next week's videos. I'll start going into more detail of each phase and what they entail, so that you guys have a better understanding of what kind of goes into it. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me for the longest episode of the Bodybuilder Breakfast Show. I deeply appreciate your support and your views and your feedback, as always. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys on Friday. So on Friday, I'm going to cover meal prepping, meal timing, and nutrient timing as general concepts, just to kind of further educate you guys on what it takes to get in shape or fulfill your fitness journey vision, if you will. All right, guys. Have a good Wednesday. I'll talk to you on Friday.